How do you lose weight? It basically comes down to calories in versus calories out. Please, please, please ignore every other type of diet that recommends cut this out, this is fattening, this is this, this is that. It is not. One of the easiest ways to explain fattening versus non-fattening foods or anything like that is if you think of the most fattening foods you can think of, whether that's sugar, cheese, crisps, chipper chips, whatever it is. If you had a tiny amount of that and you ate nothing else with it, so let's say, sugar, people always say, oh, sugar's fattening, sugar's bad for us, blah, blah, blah. So if I ate a teaspoon of sugar, that was the only thing I ate during the entire day, would I gain or lose weight? If I ate a teaspoon of sugar, which is about 20 calories, if I ate that, it was the only thing, let's say if I just ate that 7 days a week, 20 calories a day, 7 days a week, 140 calories in an entire week, would I gain or lose weight? I would lose weight easily because I'm essentially starving myself. Therefore, sugar is not fattening. If 1 teaspoon of sugar doesn't make me fat, sugar is not fattening, okay? What comes in is the amount of calories I'm eating on a daily basis. So in Mary's example, if she's eating 2,500 calories, not exercising, and she's eating 2,500 calories a day, she'll gain fat, She's eating an extra 500 calories a day. That's how she's going to gain weight while doing it. And if she's eating 2,000 calories a day, she's not exercising, she's probably going to keep in maintenance and not drop anything, okay? So what we've got to do is not just look at your calories in, because your calories in will only come from food and drink. We've got to look at the calories out, because the calories out are actually kind of a little bit more complex. We've got the basal metabolic rate, which is basically the amount of energy you need to keep all your organs functioning, etc. You've got your non-exercise physical activity, so all those hours in the day that you're moving around, in and out of work, and, etc., etc. You've got your actual exercise as well. And then you've got what we call the thermic effect of food. So the thermic effect of food is basically when you eat food, it requires energy to digest it. And usually about 10% of our daily calorie intake is actually used up in digesting food. Now, that's based on, depending on the type of food you're eating, because the more naturally, minimally processed food you eat, the harder that is for your body to absorb and break down and digest because it hasn't been partially kind of processed or whatever. I'll give you an example. There is, they tested out peanuts and peanut butter. And again, the peanut butter was just ground up peanuts. And it was 40% more calories absorbed from the peanut butter than there was from the peanuts. Why? Because it was already blended down and broken down, much easier for your body to digest and absorb. But if it's easier for your body to digest, it's going to absorb more calories. The thermic effect of actually digesting that is a lot easier, and therefore you don't get the result. So basically, when it comes in a nutshell, we have our resting metabolic rate, which is 60%. We can't really alter the resting metabolic rate that much. What we can do is alter the thermic effect of feeding, because we can eat more minimally processed food, and we can also alter our physical activity and our non-exercise physical activity now that you're aware of it. So one of the things to realize is when you're looking at this is your resting metabolic rate is 60% of calories burned. The thermic effect of feeding is about 8 to 10, and the rest is about 30 or so of physical activity, and that's including your non-exercise physical activity. So you've got to realize that just because you're doing 3 hours of exercise or something like that, it's not a huge amount of calories. You might be burning 1,000 calories a week from that physical activity. Starting off, because people are less fit, they can't actually burn kind of as many calories because they're not able to exert themselves and raise their heart rate that much, especially in a safe manner. So what we've got to make sure is that, even though we're kind of bringing you into exercise, that's not where you're going to get your results from in terms of actual calorie burn off. That will come with physical activity. The fitter you get, the stronger you get, the easier it is to burn more calories. But your physical activity has a huge amount of other benefits, such as strengthening up your bones and joints, strengthening up your muscles, building coordination, balance, stress relief as well. It actually can alter your hormones slightly as well. So it's important to do. But the reason why we're doing it is not just for this calorie burn off, especially at the start. So what we've got to look at is our food. How much food are we eating? And knowing that, and knowing how far away from our metabolic rate, that Mary's example of 2,000 are we on a regular basis. Because if we're too low the whole time, your body's in a state of threat and shock, and things are being depleted. You're not supporting your health, you're not supporting your metabolism, you're going to struggle. The closer you can eat to around your metabolic number, the easier it is to get results, because you're going to feel good, you're going to be able to exercise harder, your body's not going to be in a state of threat or shock because it's getting everything it needs to support your optimal health and your optimal metabolism. So there's a lot of information here, but I hope you understand that your metabolism isn't just something that we have no control over. It's not this little magical kind of, fairies inside our body that's just going to get lazy as we get older or something like that. Simply what happens is we slow down, we stop moving so much, but consciously we can start to pick that back up. We can make ourselves move more, we can obviously do more physical activity, and then we can support that metabolism, look after it, fuel it. Think about your metabolism like a factory. It needs a huge amount of workers for this factory to run optimally. If we take away 50% of those workers, we can't expect the produce from that factory or the production to stay the same. Or what you're doing is you're putting more stress on what's already there. And again, that's going to, lead to a poor output. So if we get the optimal amount of workers in that factory, get it running on a well-oiled machine essentially, then everything else will feel a lot easier and more doable. So any questions on this at all, please do drop me a mail and ask me, and we'll a couple more videos we'll go to on how we can track things and how we can get the best results for you. All right, talk to you soon. Cheers, bye.